Toyota is no longer making cars for retirees and accountants. I'm Brian Grant, you're watching New Car Spin, and this is the 2018 Toyota Camry. Now, when I was told I was going to get the Camry, I was kind of excited, but when it arrived, I was somewhat disappointed. And that's because when I took a look at it, it didn't have any faded paint. All the wheels matched. The tires weren't bald. The bumpers were painted the same color as the car. There was no missing tint on the windows. There were no dents. It was quite astonishing to see a brand new Camry. And that made me disappointed because I thought I was going to get a Camry. And instead what I got was a Camry. And then I saw the interior. Now this interior is phenomenal. If you look at all the surfaces and all the buttons and everything here, it is well laid out. It is not only well laid out, but the materials and the design are much better, in my opinion, than an Audi A4. Even this, you see this thing here that looks like it's a wave texture design? It's actually smooth. It's more of a hologram. And that is so cool because from here, it doesn't look like a hologram. It looks like a real textured piece of wood, but at the same time, it's not going to collect any dust because there are no surfaces for the dust to collect on. And look at how this line corresponds to the air vent and then wraps around. That's not cheap. That is really upscale, and that's why I am very shocked. I did not expect this in a Camry at all. This car in particular, the 4-cylinder 2.5 liter XLE with front wheel drive, has very good road manners. In my opinion, this is the poor man's Audi A4. Let me show you. I got my seatbelt on, and well, we're just going to put it in drive. When you do that, you'll notice the parking brake automatically disengages. I also have auto hold, which will hold the vehicle at a stoplight, and I don't have to keep my foot on the brake. So if it's long traffic, I can just put that button on and then take my foot off the brake. When I'm ready to go, hit the accelerator, and off I go. And it will resume that function every time until I disable it. Pretty trick. So let's go ahead and hit the road. We're gonna go this way actually because the guy's unloading some wood here at Hard 8 Barbecue here in the Colony. I'm actually really close to Toyota Corporate. I'm driving right by it in a couple minutes. So what I'll do is I'll tell you a little bit more about this Camry. What I mean about poor man's A4 is not only does this interior look better than the A4, this has more features than the A4, and I'm not even talking about a price level. Just look at the dual tone leather, the ventilated seats, well, not ventilated, but perforated seats, and you'll see overall, it doesn't have a bad look to it. For this price point, it looks really good, as opposed to that Camry there. So getting on with my points. Now you'd think that all Camrys are slow and they belong in the left lane, hogging up and slowing people down, but they really don't. They move. Now this has an 8-speed automatic, and my only complaint here is that the 8-speed doesn't really respond very quickly. When you put your foot down, sometimes... Oh look, I have an integrated... Let me just turn that off. I'm gonna decline that. So obviously you can connect via Bluetooth to your phone. By the way, the phone sits here on this tray, which is a wireless charging tray. If you push this button here, it turns on wireless charging, but that's not a wireless compatible phone, so I don't have to use it. And you'd think, oh, well, that's all there is to this area, but there isn't. There's a concealed compartment below it. How cool is that? And of course I have some outlets, some USB ports, and that's all very fine and dandy. It's pretty standard in cars these days. But what isn't standard, especially in a Camry, is the way this thing holds the road. Now obviously I'm going straight, but it's very comfortable and very quiet in here, even at this speed on a windy day. And that's kind of why I'm shooting inside the car today, because it's so windy you wouldn't hear me on this camera. So I have to accommodate this in a different way today. Oh, by the way, it's nice and sunny, and you can tell because by pushing this button here, the panoramic sunroof shade opens. That's right, 32 $2,000 and change, and there is a panoramic sunroof in here. And actually it does open. I will open it for you. You won't hear me very well, but I'll open it. The only thing is you can't have the sunroof open and the shade completely closed at the same time. And it is a very robust shade. It's not allowing any light through. Let me close the sunroof again. And I think what that signals here is that Toyota is no longer making cars for retirees and accountants. This is a car for people who really do want a very comfortable commuter car that is drivable and is very user-friendly and looks good and is sophisticated enough. And one thing that you'll notice is I'm resting my arm up here on the door sill, and when you look on the vehicle from the outside, the windows kind of bend down a little bit, and that really makes it very comfortable in here, even though I'm limited on my headroom. I'm 6 feet tall, and the seat's all the way down. So there's not much space in here for anyone really taller than 6'2". But we'll continue on with the drive. It accelerates smoothly because it's not turbocharged. Oh, by the way, there's the Toyota corporate office. It's massive. They didn't have to drive very far to drop this car off at my house. That office is sweet. Lots of parking garages. I wonder really what goes on there. Are they doing any TRD development? Are they doing any... well, Lexus is here too, but I mean, it's pretty top secret and secure looking. It's intimidating, I guess, to some. Awesome. Anyway, what that really means here is Toyota is based in Plano, Texas now, and they're making the Camry like they always have, but they're doing a very good job at it. Volkswagen, for instance, has said they're going to make more cars for the American market. And they tried with the Passat and the Atlas. They didn't convince me on that, and I'm an American. But getting into this Camry, I feel like they nailed the American market very well with this thing. It's luxurious enough. It's not overcompensating for anything, but just comparing this to an A4, for instance, I don't have any silly stop-start technology at the red lights. The engine still runs when I come to a complete stop. And I have a nice big display here, even though this one doesn't have navigation. It's very easy to use and laid out quite well. There are a few things here and there that make it more Toyota-like than anything, such as these heated seat buttons, which are very hard to see from the driver's position, but there is a driver's heated seat button right here. And the air conditioning works quite well. If you're looking for an Audi A4 but you can't quite sport the $45,000, you can get one of these, and it corners very well. It's not exactly an Audi replacement, but if you don't want to sport over $35,000 for a car and you want something new that has all the technology and is sophisticated, such as radar cruise and lane keeping assist and anti-collision, let's see if it works. Oh, I'm not gonna try. There it goes. So you approach a car too quickly, maybe you're not paying that much attention, you're maybe checking an address on a building, that will alert you, and it's a very nice safety feature to have. That's actually a standard feature on all Toyotas. So Safety Sense Plus, I think it's called. Anyway, I'm gonna go back to work right now, but what I will tell you is this Toyota has actually made it to my best cars I've driven playlist. And that may sound shocking considering how much I loathe the Corolla, but what it comes down to is at this price point, 32, you're spending $5 more than a loaded Corolla, and you're getting a much better car. Look at this too. This is another American market thing. When you put the vehicle in park, you pull this lever up, put it in park, the parking brake sets automatically. Now, of course, I have Eco, Normal, Sport mode, and I don't really use Eco. I use Sport a lot, but for the most part, Normal is unnoticeable, and that's the default. The only thing I would complain about is, you know, while they're trying to shake their image of accountants and bean counter kind of people, they still do feature like fuel economy here, and fuel economy you can't get away from. I do want to note though, I'm at half a tank, and I have commuted with this car for 5 solid days, and I've only used half a tank of fuel. A lot of other cars have had to refuel by now. So this is a very fuel efficient, very comfortable, semi-luxurious, I'm going to call it. I don't think there's any such thing as Japanese luxury. That's a whole different argument, but I'll tell you about that later. They're minimalists, right? So minimal, luxury, not the same. It's different, but not the same. Anyway, I do like the Camry. You should definitely consider one if you're on a budget, and maybe you're just looking for something that you really don't care what happens, you know, door dings, things like that, on a car that you're going to maybe not treat as your special vehicle. Maybe this is your main vehicle and then you have a special thing for the garage, like a Corvette Grand Sport. But definitely look at the Camry. This one is amazing. It's not the V6 either, and I think it's doable because of the weight distribution and everything that this has. So thanks for watching. I hope you like and subscribe. I hope you leave a comment below. I'll be sure to answer your questions, and thanks for watching. See ya.